come up with that dog shit pick. What the fuck were we thinking? What the fuck were you thinking?
It's time for some Jimnasium action. As always, it is me, XFL Jim, joined by the one, the only, the Wolf of Oaklawn himself. It is Chase Lupine Fiasco Sessoms, a.k.a. Burninator Resurgence.
That's right.
What's up, my man?
That's the theme for week 2. I think the Sea Dragons are gonna burninate the village. They're gonna bring it this week. I'm pumped.
They're gonna need Ben DiNucci to step it the fuck up. He looked so good, and then didn't. But we will cover every game of XFL opening week, game by game, and anything else we had over the weekend. Anything else that happened? Some stuff happened. Like shout out Tiger Woods, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, made the cut and finished in the top 50. You know, on like a metallic back and less than 2 ankles, and yeah, man.
As a half man, half metal machine yourself.
Yes, yeah, I am of cyborg brethren. Yeah,
you have to be rooting for him, right?
Oh, for sure, because I've had one of the Tiger Woods surgeries. You know, we are akin that way. But yeah, like whenever I know he's going to play, I go and I check the weather. I'm like, ooh, it's going to be cold the morning of round 2. Like, that's going to be a shitty day for him. And that's basically, I just told you how I handicap golf. But yeah, that's I'm pulling for him. Let's go, Tiger.
That's golf talk, everybody. That's golf talk.
Let's go, Metallic Tiger.
Right into it. XFL opening week. First off, before any of the games, the hype was unreal in the garage.
Yes.
Pounding seltzers left and right.
A lot of seltzers.
I didn't know how I was going to handle the moment. I felt like we did a good job. I felt like I didn't go overboard. And I did see a lot of people kind of like commenting stuff online about the XFL and the USFL and da-da-da-da-da-da. I know how you feel about mommy and daddy fighting. I love it personally. I love the mudslinging. I love the hate.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's good to have that sort of conflict between it. It keeps it interesting instead of it just being like, hey, there are 2 leagues existing at the same time.
Yeah, and like the players don't care because there was plenty of USFL players that were just like, oh, this was awesome, great job, guys, because they're all rooting for each other. Right.
A lot of them are teammates. Were teammates last year, things like that. Yeah, the players don't care. I think it's just us fanboys who've created this conflict. It's kind of like East Coast versus West Coast rap. Like, I feel like it's just completely consumer created.
And then for me, I feel like there seems to be a decent amount of people that attach themselves to one spring league or the other. I can't get enough. I'm biggest fan of both.
All right. I had this thought the other day. Does this, if they're both continue to exist and be successful, is the only way that this ends in merger?
Potentially. I don't... Like, it would have to be one getting sold to the other, because I don't know if you'd see another merger of Disney and Fox.
That is an excellent point. I guess since now that they're owned, like, the leagues themselves are owned by the media conglomerates that are actually broadcasting them. Yeah, that does make a merger really hard. I felt really smart about my merger take. I was like, man, it's like the NBA and the ABA back in the day. That's what
it can be very possible, but I think the fact that they are now owned by the media companies does make it a little bit more difficult. So
yeah,
I think it would be a situation of one getting sold to the other.
Listen, if Disney ever purchases Fox or Fox ever purchases Disney, then I think we've got much bigger problems on our hands.
We'd have way bigger problems. I'd be worried about college football.
The collapse of society is what I'm concerned about, quite honestly.
Football, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just going to be flat out honest with people.
Give us these gladiator battles. Yes.
But the hype was unreal.
Yep.
Opening the game, Vegas Vipers, Arlington Renegades. Shout out to the Rocket Denny Garcia, by the way, for making it to every game of the weekend.
Yes, and shout out to Danny Garcia for having like perplexing attire.
Two outfits. Perplexing outfits.
two perplexing outfits for each set of games. Yeah. The first off, the weird like I don't know, naughty sheriff kind of look.
See,
was,
you were thinking the sheriff. I was thinking like an Amelia Earhart homage.
I was seeing like a Reno 911 kind of like Washoe County Sheriff's uniform, but yeah. And then what I thought was like a grade school gym class parachute. But upon closer inspection was like made of velour and more Snuggie-ish. So it was like a parachute Snuggie.
It was like a Goop brand Snuggie.
Yeah.
Or like a Balenciaga Snuggie.
Yeah. It literally looked like another person could easily like just zip into there like with her, and it would be just something to just like nice to Netflix and chill with, you know?
And remember, she does have her own like XFL luxury clothing brand now.
Dude, if the parachute Snuggie is in there, well then I'm buying one, and I'm buying one for my wife too.
I might actually peruse the site and do a little shopping myself. Do a little merch review. I already reviewed like the regular merch. I might have to review the luxury brand merch.
Yeah. Yeah. I want me that Balenciaga parachute Snuggie. That's for sure.
But the game itself, we started off. Luis Perez, starting quarterback for the Vegas Vipers. Great opening drive. I'd say probably a good first half in general for the Vipers.
I would say, extremely successful first half. Luis Perez was like really on top of it. Looked like he really mastered that offense. Several, third down conversions on that first drive. He looked great, and I think then they started showing him things that like weren't the base defense, and they started doing different things and confusing him a little bit.
The halftime adjustments of the Renegades versus the halftime adjustments made by the Vipers kind of shows you why Bob Stoops is who he is.
Yeah.
And I mean, experience edge.
A little bit. I mean, it kind of set the tone for the entire weekend. I feel like every single game that we saw kind of followed this storyline of a team comes out and looks decent, and then as soon as like the defense makes adjustments, then it just kind of turns into a little bit of like a defensive struggle, unless one of the defenses just like hulked out.
Sup, Jedi Grind, sup, Voz in the chat, by the way. Yes, it's the defense for the Renegades is what really showed up for me, getting those turnovers. That, again, Arlington was the only team that did not score an offensive touchdown the entire weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I trust fully in Drew Plitt. I'm kind of with Voz here in the chat. I think the Vipers were probably the better team overall. Luis Perez just kind of ended up making some mistakes, but he's not the starter of the future. I don't think he's going to be the guy going forward. I think he's going to be a nice solid backup for them.
Okay. Who's the guy that they go to then?
It's Brent Hundley, the guy they brought
in.
It's the guy that he's the reason why Brian Scott left. The Vipers really wanted Huntley, but he's only been there for I think 2 weeks.
All right, so is he the Huntley that was at UCLA and then got drafted to the Packers or something and was a backup there?
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes, it is him.
I've only seen him in very limited action, like preseason and stuff. But I mean, he was playing with the Packers when they had wide receivers and stuff during
He's
that.
Got experience. He's a
he didn't look bad
kind of guy. He's 29.
Yeah, been around. A professional, knows how to operate as a professional. That's always a big deal.
Yeah, been on the Packers, the Seahawks, Cardinals, Colts, Ravens, Saints.
Yeah,
he's been around.
It was pretty remarkable how many times I heard names that were NFL names that I remember hearing on Sundays quite a bit that were actually out there on the field playing this weekend.
The other takeaway from me from this game is the fact that, I think Brett Hundley probably starts either next week or week 3 at minimum.
Yeah.
We'll be able to see it maybe. Maybe we'll be able to see his first start when we go live this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
It's the one game of the day. We're going to be there in person to watch an XFL game. See how the Vegas crowd operates.
I'm pretty pumped. It's going to be cold, but I'm still pretty pumped.
Is it cold by our standards? It's just cold by Vegas standards.
I don't know. Like the lows, it was like the highs are in the 50s, the lows are in like the 30. So
I will. Okay, right now, I will murder a child for 50 degrees.
okay, I beg of you not to do that.
We've dealt with like last week. I think majority of the time it was about single digit.
Okay.
Awful.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
My other big takeaway: offensive lines for both teams struggling a bit, especially in the run game. The run game for both teams not fantastic, which I did not see coming for the Renegades.
Yeah, very true. No one could protect anybody at all. Like everyone just when it hit the third quarter, everyone just started hitting the deck and chucking up ducks.
There's probably, I don't know, everyone kind of expected the offensive lines to start out slow.
Yeah,
just because
it's hard to mesh with that little time with not playing like preseason games and stuff.
It's hard to mesh, and the announcers, I just gotta say it, I'm tired already of the NFL talk during the broadcast.
Right.
But like offensive lines, it's a hard position to draft for. It's a hard position to recruit in college. It's a very difficult position to find really talented guys for.
Yeah. I mean, they don't make that many like gigantic 300-pound like super athletic fleet-footed people. Like there's just a handful of those on the planet, you know?
There's not very many of them. I think that'll come. I was surprised with how good the passing looked, considering.
Yeah.
So Perez did go 22 for 36, 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. The killer were those 2 picks.
Right. I mean, it was a great comeback. Like it was a great showcase.
Great comebacks.
Yeah, and I mean, the game as a whole was a great showcase of the rules of like, oh shit, there is still a chance that Vegas could come back and, you know, could win this if they convert this pass. And the pass was like very close to being completed to give them a chance. Like it was just a great, like as a whole, like introduction to this is the XFL season. It's going to be pretty badass this year.
I think the whole weekend did a fantastic job of showcasing the XFL rules more than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome 3-point conversions. We'll get to it with the Battlehawks comeback, but just like in a row, the ultimate what they dreamed of as the comeback mechanic.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. But this game was a great start, I thought. I think Arlington might have had the quote unquote worst crowd of the weekend, but from what I hear, the new stadium that they're playing in is in kind of a weird spot to get to. And I'll say it, like by Texas standards, it is chilly. It's still winter. Right.
Yeah, that ballpark of Arlington, I think, is just kind of out of the way now because they've built a bunch of other like new stadiums, like all kind of bunched in together.
I think so too. Next game, we had the Orlando Guardians taking on the Houston Roughnecks. The Roughnecks won it 33-12. It's the one blowout of the weekend.
Yeah.
I think this is a combination of the Roughnecks having a fantastic defense and like the Guardians are bad. They are the worst team. I don't know if they're as bad as they showed out there. That me and Eric talked about it. The offensive line is going to take a lot. This offensive line, more than any other offensive line, is going to take the most time to gel, I believe. You can't put Paxton Lynch in.
No.
You can't put Paxton. He does not deserve the one touchdown he has.
No, that was an interception. I will say until my grave. Yeah. Listen, the Guardians didn't look great. Also, I think that maybe give the offensive line some credit. We'll see, because I think that the Houston defensive line could, and just pass rushers in a whole might be like scary good, like really, really good. And they've got the kind of secondary that just kind of ball hawks. Like, yeah, Paxton Lynch probably not the way to go. I mean, it was Quentin Dormady who came in and actually, got them moving a little bit, but came into a spot where like the pass rush was just coming because they were so far down that it was it was like pin your ears back, like we're going to just blitz this kid to death, and they couldn't stop anybody.
Exactly. I'm with you. I think this was the combination factor of the Orlando Guardians having one of the bottom 2 offensive lines, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah.
And the Roughnecks having this good of a defense. You kind of see what happens here. So Brandon Silvers was the starting quarterback for the Roughnecks. He looked great at points. I've said this about Brandon Silvers in 2020. I've said about him for a while. I know some people are really high on him. Some people are really low on him. I'm somewhere in the middle. I think he's good to great. He's one of the most inconsistent players I've ever seen.
I mean, he looked inconsistent in the start, but I mean, he's got the weapons around him. It seems that wide receiver from LSU that they were talking about that had played D-back also. I mean, he seemed to make
Kirkland?
Yeah, Kirkland.
Yeah.
Yeah, he made some pretty good plays for Silvers. That could be like a pretty dynamic pair hooking up. If it can get to the just basically, it's. I mean, you can say this for probably like 6 of the quarterbacks that played. If they can just stop turning the ball over, like if you clean up the play, then like you've got what looks like some really good like pair ups, you know.
True, and I wonder with some of these teams, I wonder if you'll see it with the Renegades. I wonder if you'll see it with the Roughnecks. You'll probably see it with the Guardians. I wonder how close of a quarterback race it was in training camp. So I wonder if you'll see some experimentation, see a couple guys slot in there. Like you did see for the Roughnecks, 2 things I loved. I think you might see a little bit more Cole McDonald in week 2, but I love the aggressiveness. They were the only team that went for 3 basically every time.
I think the Sea Dragons went for.
Did they go for 3 every time?
I think so.
I think you're right. I think the Sea Dragons are actually the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see more Cole McDonald. I think you'll see a little bit quarterback funness. Also, shout out Max Borghi. Pretty good day. A short king. Just getting the run, working in a pass-happy offense.
Yeah, man.
And even though we disagree with the touchdown call, I do really like being able to hear the refs discuss things.
Yeah. No, it was like there were some great expedited calls, but like the fact that I really liked seeing that just kind of that human moment of like, well, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what that was.
When it goes up to Dean Blandino and he's like, yeah guys, I don't know. I got nothing. What was the call on the field? Okay, let it stand.
He's just browsing through different screens to like look at replays. He's like, no. I got nothing. Nothing looks good.
And it still took less time than the typical NFL review. Yeah,
that would have gone like 2 commercial breaks. Like that was yeah. So, I mean, everything else worked really smooth. I mean, I really got a kick out of just watching the interaction of the defensive coordinators with the, defense and the offensive coordinators with the offense and kind of the breaking down the calls and stuff. Like for the last game of the night, like I thought it was like really dope to watch. Yeah.
Yes. I've heard some people, like guy at work today said he wasn't a huge fan of like all the chatter.
Uh-huh.
I know Eric doesn't mind because he watches games on mute like a savage anyway.
Yeah.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. We'll talk about it in the I'll call out what I really like in like the Seattle DC game whenever we get to it.
Up next, we have the St. Louis Battlehawks versus the San Antonio Brahmas. The crowd of the weekend, by the way. Well, yes. The largest crowd of the weekend. I'm not going to give them best crowd of the weekend because I have something for that in the last game. But
yeah, I think so. That's, man, exciting. Like everything that the opener like fell just short of giving us, like the opener on a Sunday gave us. Like just a banger game. Banger game with an all-the-way comeback.
All-the-way comeback. St. Louis comes down. They're down, 3-15?
15, yeah.
In the last bits of the fourth quarter. We think our St. Louis tickets are dead. I had St. Louis -2.
I got them at -2.5.
We think we're dead in the water, and all of a sudden the Battlehawks rattle off a crazy touchdown, a 3-point conversion, and then the onside kick rules for the XFL. You can elect to go for a 4th and 15 from your own 25.
Yeah. It was pretty epic. It was pretty epic. It's so amazing. Like I was mentioning to you, like the way that the St. Louis offense just got hot and was just able to start like slinging it for, first downs against the defense there. Like I could see some maniac head coach just being like, all right, you know what? Every time I score, I'm going for 3. And instead of kicking it back to the other team, I'm just going to try the 4th and 15 every single time. And just like how savage the beatdowns could get if your offense just got as hot as the Battlehawks offense got in this game.
I could see it. I've seen some people in the XFL Discord speculating. I don't think we see it this season, but if they take a look at that and something like that does happen, I wonder if they go in the offseason and change it to like a 4-20.
Yeah, there was a guy who coached at a high school here in Little Rock that basically always went for 2, always did that stuff. He went to
that freak was from Little Rock.
He went to whatever college he went to. Like he started doing that there. I can't remember what. As Coach Kelly, I can't remmer where he
started
went.
In like high school or something. And then,
but it's gonna be him. He won like a bunch of state championships. It's gonna be someone like him who comes to the XFL and just does that every single time.
I want to see it. I want to see it so bad.
This game was so damn good.
This game was fantastic. Also, I was wrong. Jack Cohn actually looked pretty good.
Yeah, we really kind of ate our words on that one. I was not expecting the Jack Cohn show. Well, they did
a lot to help him. They didn't have any they weren't asking a lot of him.
No, it was. I mean, they were anchored really well by that running attack. Like, was it Kalen Ballage or Balaj?
Kalen Balaj. I'm gonna call him Ballage. I don't care. And Jack West Patrick when he got in there. Another all over overarching theory. Lots of mean running backs.
Yeah, they might have led the league in angry runs so far for the weekend. In a weekend where they were plentiful, there were tons of angry runs, but they had the angriest runners. It seemed the Brahmas struck me as the most balanced, even though they lost, the most balanced offense out there. They were the only team that managed to get anything from their running back and also get a passing game to go along with it.
Yep, I love to see it, and I also think I think the St. Louis Battlehawks probably take the weekend as the second worst offensive line. AJ McCarron was just having to run for his life a lot of the time, or just take sacks left and right.
Yeah.
I think that's another combination because I, for one, coming into the season, am pretty high on this Brahmas defensive front.
Yeah. I mean, they were able to confuse the offensive line, enough to just basically get through. There were times where they basically just ran through the offensive line where they did the slow motion on some poor bastard playing center where they were like, yeah, you were just supposed to block him and completely missed it. Like it was rough. AJ McCarron had a bunch of those just like get down like sacks where it was like the lineman yells back to him like, just get the fuck down, man.
Yeah, just try and fall, please. Just stop. Last game of the weekend. The Seattle Sea Dragons take on the DC Defenders. So in my preview, I said this was my most excited game to watch for the entire weekend.
Yeah.
I don't think it disappointed.
Yeah. I am someone who holds a future on the Sea Dragons, so I really was excited to see them play, and I think they played pretty well. They just had, a key mistake at a key time. All the quarterbacks were chucking up interceptions, so I can't really hate DiNucci there. There's a weird move with Montez. Like I don't know.
I was gonna say there were 3 issues I had with the whole Sea Dragons thing in this entire game. The number one was the Steven Montez drive.
Yeah,
I get wanting to see what both quarterbacks have to offer.
Yeah,
but after first drive, DiNucci was hot. You don't want to take out. Yeah, you don't want to break up that rhythm.
Yeah,
that was the first thing. Second. This was a game of giant momentum shifts.
Yes.
Seattle Dragons come in. They look great. DC's faltering. They're not doing much. And then Lemongate happened. I'm going to dub it the Lemon Party.
Yeah. It's like...
check out lemonparty.org for more information.
But it seemed to have magic, hype powers. Like when they play Renegade at... Heinz Field for the Steelers, like that's what the Lemons seem to do, for the DC defense. Like they got real hype as soon as they started throwing the lemonades out, or the lemons out at them.
They got super hype for that. So both teams. So the DC Defenders did a little bit of a quarterback shuffle. They're another team that I could see playing both quarterbacks in week 2.
Yeah,
Jordan Ta'amu looked fine for a good chunk of it.
Yeah,
Derek King seems to bring like some sort of spark.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think both these guys should be run threats, but Derek King was really doing a lot with his legs.
Derek King, I mean, whenever he gets on the field, might be one of the faster people on the field in an XFL game. So yeah, he really does a lot with getting the offense moving because he's such that run threat. I think he's a lot more of a run threat than Tamu for sure.
I think so too. Seattle Dragons, Ben DiNucci was good at, like, again, he started out great. He looked fantastic. That opening drive was amazing.
Yeah.
He looked good for a good part of the first half and then just kind of fell apart. There were some really bad throws on his part.
Yeah.
And the back-breaking, game-ending fumble.
Right.
When, like, you give yourself hope of the comeback and you fumble on the goal line.
I was really kind of, I'm not going to say let down, but I was kind of interested in how tame the passing concepts, I guess, were for Seattle in that game. Like, It seemed to be the exact same, like, rub route with an out route for like 5 yards. Like, that was like what they were basing everything out of. And like what I really found interesting through the game was like them talking about how basically June Jones's receivers go run routes off of options based off of what they see from the defense. And so then you start to hear, Greg Williams, call his defense and call it with the roll plays, where they were, basically we were showing him something and then rolling into another coverage. And like when he started doing that, like they just started falling apart. And it's like, okay, so now basically that you just fell victim of something you haven't seen quite yet. Maybe something that some replay work would help with.
In the second half, Dr. Heat was in his bag.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, yeah, it was pretty good defense. It was really fun to watch, like the calls between June Jones and the calls between Greg Williams.
I love seeing that. I love seeing moments in, like, with the quarterback situation. The Ben DiNucci underhand touchdown pass to Josh Gordon was still an amazing moment.
It's just so awesome, so awesome. Josh Gordon, like, I can't wait for them to get this offense clicking and unleash Josh Gordon on the XFL.
6 catches for 74 yards and a touchdown. Did not lead the team in yards.
Yeah, it was like Pearson maybe. It was
Shakur Pearson. 12 catches.
Yeah, dude.
For 95 yards.
Safety valve. Like, he was, until like it got to the point where he was getting pressured all the time, and they also they just started sitting on what June Jones kept calling the entire time, the rub route with the out route, and then they're just like in the passing lanes and managed to get a couple picks, some very, very fortunate picks.
I also think before the Sea Dragons really fell behind, I feel personally like they got away from the run game a little too much. Because they were finding success running the ball a little bit with Knox. So, that's June Jones for you, though. You're going to live or die by that.
For sure. I mean, it's all going to tighten up. It is all going to tighten up, I think.
Everything's going to tighten up. The quarterback play is going to get better. The offensive lines are going to be the main thing that are going to improve these games. And then the kickers will improve. That they better improve.
Yeah.
Because, what was it? Only Russolino made all his kicks?
I think so. Everything else was, and it was just kicks that just kind of floated wide. There was only one egregious bad wide kick, and I think it was the Sea Dragons kicker that really kind of,
I think so too,
hooked it. Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, it wasn't as bad as USFL kicking was in the opening weekend. I'm
gonna give the kickers a pass for the first couple weeks because they had the weird ball
for the chip ball. Yeah, for the chip ball, of course.
That was awful.
That was absurd, just absurdity.
Looking ahead to week 2, because Chase, I'm gonna be talking about this on probably 4 different times this week. We actually have gambling lines. Have you seen the lines for week 2?
I haven't. I will
let you know what they are, and I want your take. So,
okay.
We got Thursday night. Both teams on short rest because they both played Sunday. Thursday night. Yep. I'm not going to be able to watch this game because I'm going to be flying to Vegas. I'm going to have it on the record.
I'll be watching it at Circa.
Battlehawks at Sea Dragons. The opening in Seattle. I think we get a great crowd in Seattle too.
Yeah.
Sea Dragons open up as -2.5.
I don't know yet. That's such a quick turnaround, and they both have so much to work on. Oh, that smacks of a close game, doesn't it?
It smacks of an extremely close game. I actually think I found a line that had the... So, go book shopping if you're going to be gambling on this.
Yeah.
Because some books have varying lines and totals and things like that.
Yeah.
I took the Sea Dragons -2. I found a 2. But this is going to be a great game, I think. Over-under is set at 36.5. So they're a little bit boosted from where they were.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard.
It is hard. That's a really... Is there any sort of edge? Do they have money line yet, or is it still just straight up the spread?
-145 for the Dragons, +125 for the Battlehawks.
At plus money, with it being, I think, that close, I might actually lean just into the Battlehawks money line, man.
It's not a bad play either. I might dabble a little bit with that too, just to get a little hedge going.
Yeah.
The game that we're going to, the only Saturday game, DC Defenders at the Vegas Vipers, the Vegas home opener. I'm excited to see how this crowd's going to turn out.
Me too. Do you think there will be some sort of like Vegas DC rivalry for best crowd? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see.
There might be a rivalry for most degenerate crowd. I, for one, plan on getting very, very drunk.
Okay. That's cool. I can handle that.
I got near blackout drunk for LA Wildcats home opener.
All right, just remember, if you just go full baby Huey on me, like I can't carry you any place. Like I'm leaving you for dead.
I won't go that far, because I still I'll probably go as far as I went during the Wildcats game because I still had to drive home. But this time we're taking an Uber, so I don't know. But there will be lots of drinks had. I want to interview I want to do a little like man on the street interview with people for the XFL game. It's gonna be fun. Vipers are -3. Which is interesting to me.
-3.
-3 for the Vipers.
Man, I could see... Man, I'd be on DC +3. I would be all over DC +3.
Yeah, so I think this is people thinking, oh, the Vipers looked really, really good and just had a couple really big mistakes that cost them the game.
Yeah.
DC looked really good, too.
DC did look really good. They looked great on defense.
And I think DC looked really good against a better team. I think the Sea Dragons are better than the Renegades right now.
Yeah, I would totally agree.
That Renegades defense is legit. Don't get me wrong. It is legit. But
yeah,
no offensive touchdowns is a little concerning.
That is troubling. It's definitely troubling.
I got the line. Where did I get it? I got this at the Defenders. I took it +2.5. I love it +3.
Yeah.
The total right now is at 37. I think we could see an over.
I'm imagining like De'Aaron King getting all of the snaps next week, like with the way that he moved the offense.
I don't think he gets all of them. I think. So my takeaway is for a lot of these teams that have these sort of tough quarterback battles. Yeah. I think you'll see a lot of what you saw for the New Jersey Generals in the USFL, where for the first few weeks they were playing both.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of that because training camp was only 5 weeks.
Yeah.
They're still trying to find a starter, and if every team is I think every team's pretty close to skill wise. I think you're gonna see a lot of teams feeling out who they have, maybe give themselves a loss or two, because every team's gonna have like a few losses. I don't think anyone's coming away undefeated. So experiment a little bit early on, and then you can sure yourself up for when it comes to like the latter half of the season.
Yeah. So did Rod Woodson have the best debut of all of like the former professional players that are coaches in the XFL, you think?
I thought Bechtel was pretty good.
What'd you say?
I thought Bechtel was pretty good.
Oh, that's right. I was thinking of like versus him, like versus Hines Ward. Yeah.
Hines Ward was decent. I think Becht, Rod, and Ward all had a pretty good showing, but I'd probably put Becht and Woodson like neck and neck.
Okay. I like it.
San Antonio Brahmas, Orlando Guardians. At Orlando. So this is the Orlando opener.
I could see home dog, right?
Yeah. Brahmas are -3. Over this is the highest total too at 38.5. Not the highest total, sorry. There's one more that's higher.
This feels like a smash the Brahmas and smash the under kind of game.
I think so too. I think the Brahmas defensive line can feast on the Guardians.
Yeah, I think so. We already saw what they did like versus a good pass rush. Like they just completely caved. Against Houston. So yeah, and plus the Brahmas can actually run the ball too. So like I could see them just like getting up and just like with the running clock, holding on to the ball for like 15 minutes a drive.
The Guardians did say we will see DeAndre Francois in this game.
Maybe he'll be better at running for his life.
It's probably Dormady and him. I don't think we see Paxton Lynch anymore. I think his time in the spotlight is done.
Yeah, I think so.
And this is going to be another. I think all the games are going to be good again. I don't think it'll be a blowout like the Roughnecks game was. But there's a chance. I don't know, man. This Orlando offensive line worries me. Also, I'm just going to say it. Sorry, Orlando. I think this is probably the worst. This will probably be the worst crowd. Tampa was a decent crowd in 2020, but they also, I think the worst crowds were New York and LA.
Okay.
But they were also playing in NFL stadiums.
Yeah, it makes it look pretty sparse when you do that.
Yeah. Last game. The Battle of Texas is already here. We have the Renegades versus the Roughnecks week 2. Roughnecks minus 3.5. Over under is 40 right now. 40. I'm going to be honest, people. I took the under 39. I'm going to take the under 40.
I kind of like okay. I don't know.
You give me a team that didn't score a single
okay,
offensive touchdown.
all right. So a team that didn't score a single offensive touchdown.
Against this defense?
Against a defense who did score multiple defensive touchdowns. So you got to say, what are the odds that they scored that many defensive touchdowns again versus the team that didn't?
I don't think the Renegades get 2 of them. They got 2 last time.
Okay, so I think that's a pretty solid case for the under. I agree.
I jumped on the Roughnecks early. I took a minus the 3.5. I don't know.
I don't know about.
It's a lot of points, and this is probably a rivalry game. This is one of the best games of 2020. This will probably be a really good game. I could go either way.
Man, no, everything is capable of coming down to being exactly 3 points. It's so crazy how it happens like that. Yeah, God, that's tough. I at this point would probably, if at 3.5, would probably go with the Renegades.
I don't hate it. If you go by history, if you take history into account, which you probably shouldn't because these are completely different teams.
Yeah.
The Renegades were undefeated on the road, I believe, in 2020. Lost every home, most home games, and won every road game.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say for the record, fuck Texas forever, but damn it, those Houston Roughnecks uniforms and the Texas helmets are so kind of dope. They are so cool.
I hated them at first. They're kind of growing on me.
I think they're really awesome.
I want to see their away unis because I know their away unis are pretty sick too.
All right.
I think the Arlington away unis are also fucking awesome because
Yeah.
they're bringing out the retro logo,
the bandit,
bandit for the retro for the away unis. I'm excited.
All right.
I loved week 1.
Yeah.
I'm excited for week 2. Jesus.
Look at Jesus. What is going on? Oh my Lord.
I'm loving life. I'm dying right now because of lack of sleep.
There we go.
I've slept maybe 8 hours over the past 4 days.
And now you're scratching because you feel bugs under your skin.
Yeah, I feel bugs. I had a coffee this morning. I just pounded an energy drink when I got home. It's beautiful time to be alive.
My boy's tweaking off this XFL action right now.
I am. I'm so happy. We got the USFL college draft this Tuesday.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
This is what I dreamed of when I dreamed of spring football.
All right.
I'm loving it.
I'm pumped. Next time we get together, we're going to be doing it from Vegas, dude.
Hashtag no bias. I give week 1 of the XFL a 10 out of 10. No bias. I'm sorry. In parentheses, extremely biased.
9 point. Listen, I believe that there are improvements that can be made. 9.75 out of 10.
10 out of 10. No bias. Little biased.
Yeah.
Very biased. Extremely biased.
Yeah. A little bit.
I'm XFL Jim. I don't know what more you want from me.
Listen, I've told people before that you've got a cultic personality. That you just you suck in followers like myself, and I'm just whoa. I'm in now. I'm in. Whatever this guy believes, I'm into. And That's I think what's happened to me with the XFL.
Good thing it's the XFL and not like something dangerous.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh, that's a really good thing that he's not like, hey, let's go, do something crazy. But instead, he's just like, hey, let's watch football.
If I became like a pickup artist and just tried to like sell courses online.
I mean, it depends on what the commissions would be, but I'd probably stick around.
They'd be pretty good. We could scam a lot of suckers out of their money.
Okay, then I'm in. You got me. I don't know. It's just energy in your eyes.
I did nothing else this weekend besides XFL, so I have nothing else to add. Chase, do you have anything else to add to your weekend or your week in general?
No, it was consumed.
Did you watch any NBA All-Star game?
All right. I watched none of the All-Star game. I have watched a total of 2.5 hours of Mac McClung highlight videos since the dunk contest.
I did watch Matt McClung's dunk. Dude's sick.
It's just absurd. And I found just like, listen, when there are videos of you floating around on YouTube and someone in the title of the video posits the question, best white dunker ever, you've got some, yes, like you've got some really sick jams at that point.
Damn right you do. I got nothing else to add. Chase doesn't have anything else to add. What do you got going on in life, though?
Man, just making a podcast, doing a horse racing podcast, and Notorious OTV for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network.
Link down below, people.
Yeah, you can check that out. Just put an episode out tonight. Gonna get another one in for the Rebel weekend in Oaklawn this week, and then I'm out of town to see this big galoot in Vegas.
That's right, folks. We are meeting up in Vegas Thursday to Sunday. If you're in Vegas, shout me out. I will give you a big old smooch on the cheek. That's a promise.
He'll follow through on that, people. I promise you. Yeah.
You guys know where to find me. XFL Gym everywhere. The XFL Week 1 solo recap where I just go completely nuts is coming out tomorrow. The Week 2 preview will be dropping Thursday. And yeah, find me in Vegas. Spring Fever coming out Wednesday night with good old Uncle Rico. And yeah, we're going to live pick sports from Vegas.
Yeah, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the game. Maybe we make a renegade beer snake in Las Vegas, in honor
of DC being there.
Yeah, just like a really just fight the man and just start pounding beers and stacking cups.
I don't know so that seemed to be like a stadium thing. This is the last thing I want to talk. Like,
this is solidarity. This is for all the
DC.
fans.
That was I'm gonna say that was probably my favorite moment of the entire weekend was the whole lemon party beer snake fiasco because it got Twitter buzzing.
Yeah, dude, I gotta think that The Rock saw that happening, was like, oh yes, fuck yes, throw those lemons. Oh yeah, throw those fucking lemons, man.
Apparently that was Audi Field's rule. That was them saying no, not the XFL, because XFL.
That's awesome.
Fun.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
That'll do it for the Jimnasium, folks. We'll see you guys next week. We love you very much, and maybe we'll see you in Vegas. We'll